God said that they're sleeping with newborn babies in this country. Newborn babies, those who are just born at the minute of birth, they start sodomizing you, God says, and those babies die. Just know that. And no one can say this is not so, because we know that even in different continents, such as Africa, reports come of men who are found in the room with people who are under 1 year old, caught in the act of sex, and then the baby almost always dies. That even happened here, I think, in June. A man was caught. That also happened, I think, in July. A couple left a man with, they claimed that he was a known man to them. He was their friend, and the man raped their 4-year-old daughter until, I said, all her insides got churned up by what he was doing, and the blood was coming back out of her mouth as foam. She didn't make it. So newborns are subjected to this. God says those just born, and sometimes those who are just a few weeks old, they sodomize them to death, and then they leave them hanging on their And if you have any memory, those of you who are here, the prophecy that you can go and check that I once said that the way God showed it to me was a way that I could handle. The prophecy is called drowning. And in the drowning prophecy, God showed me everything like cartoons or like marionette dolls. And one of the scenes that he showed me was men lined up and they had little babies hanging on. They were wooden puppets. So they were moving like wooden puppets. And then when the wooden puppets turned, I could see that all of them were naked and they had a tiny little wooden puppet baby hanging on them, as in they had stuck themselves into the baby and then the baby was hanging off them. Now, that was hideous enough, but because it was presented in a way that doesn't actually cook the brain, that's different. But now God was saying to me, do you remember the dream I showed you? The one with men who were wooden dolls with the children stuck on their celestial? That is a reality. They sodomize babies that have just come to life, ripping their internal organs to pieces and causing instant death.
So this is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read in my life. And it raises the question, was Jeffrey Epstein impregnating young children in order to force them to have kids that would then be brought into the world of sex trafficking and pedophile rings from a newborn? Or I should say from the age of newborn, or whatever you'd say. So these are screenshots from a journal of one of Epstein's victims, and the girl talks a lot in coded language. As you can see here, this is kind of how she wrote, and she writes in these journals, but it's a pretty easy code to decipher. I deciphered a bunch of these pages. But the really disturbing thing throughout these journals is that she talks about multiple perpetrators. She names perpetrators, like the executives at AOL, Leon Black, a good friend of Epstein's. There are many more too. But this girl constantly talks about death, about murder, about her babies being taken away from her, about her being forced into these traumatic procedures that were extremely gruesome and bloody. There are also pictures of what I can assume are potentially her babies, her sonograms. Here are some of the pages translated though. Tomorrow is the halfway ultrasound for Jeffrey. This one stuck. After they took the first baby who survived in the early miscarriage, I think it was called, I no longer feel like a person but a vessel. Will they take this one too? Who has the first one? Where did Ghislaine go? I can't let myself get attached. My body feels so tired. Will I ever be free? So then in another page of coded writing, she writes, I am such a monster. I didn't console her. I can't unhear her screams. They haunt me. I couldn't even bring myself to look at her. I am a monster. I deserve to be haunted by her screams. I am so sorry. I am so broken. Another page here, she describes the doctor who was from Israel, and she describes the procedure. This was different, a shot, and those rod-like things had a hook and so much pain. Blood and water all over the bed, and she was wrecked, like a feeling when your tummy hurts and you have to push. I saw her fingers, this tiny head and body in the doctor's hands. It reached its tiny arm up and had a tiny foot. I closed my eyes and no more. No more cries. I don't understand. Just say these things happen. They yelled and screamed and he said it will be the same in a couple of months. I don't understand what is going on. I can't go to school like this. I can't stop shaking. Yeah, so to me it sounds like this girl was being impregnated over and over again, starting at the age of probably 13 or 14. And then when she was having these babies, they were being taken from her and immediately brought into the world of a pedophile ring or sex trafficking
They
organization.
trafficked little girls. They got them pregnant. They took their babies. They starved the babies, made them very thirsty, and then they put their in their mouths because they knew the babies would suck harder.